Men believed they would immediately know if their woman was cheating. They assumed the signs would be loud, obvious, and impossible to miss, like emotional distance, sudden secrecy, or constant conflict. That belief feels logical, but it is also the reason many men never see what is actually happening until it is too late. The truth is that women rarely cheat in chaotic or careless ways. They move with intention, emotional awareness, and strategy. By the time a man notices surface-level changes, the deeper truth has often already been protected. I'm Coach Janet, and in this video, I'm breaking down real cheating tricks using women's psychology, not popular dating myths. If you stay with me until the end, you will understand female behavior in a way most relationship advice for men never explains. So make sure you're subscribed if clarity matters to you. Cheating trick 1. Attention diversion. When a woman is hiding something, her strongest tool is not silence or distance. It is control over where your attention goes and how you emotionally interpret her behavior. Most men believe deception is about lying, but in reality, it is about directing focus away from the truth. When you ask a question that gets too close, she often avoids answering it directly. Instead, she shifts the emotional tone of the conversation by focusing on your delivery, your mood, or your intention. The conversation stops being about her actions and slowly turns into a discussion about your behavior. This pattern is deeply connected to women's psychology. Women are generally more emotionally perceptive and skilled at managing emotional environments. She knows how to redirect emotional energy without needing to explain herself or provide clear answers. As suspicion begins to threaten her comfort, she diverts your attention. She may become defensive, emotional, or suddenly affectionate in ways that feel unexpected. That affection is not always guilt, but rather a way to soften your focus and move you away from the original concern. Many men misunderstand this stage because they associate affection with reassurance. They believe closeness means honesty and emotional safety. In reality, affection can sometimes be used as camouflage to keep deeper issues hidden. Over time, this creates emotional confusion. You raise a reasonable concern, but you leave the conversation feeling unsettled, apologetic, or unsure of yourself. That is not bad communication. It is attention diversion at work. Once a man begins doubting his instincts, the balance of power shifts. You cannot confront what you no longer trust yourself to see clearly. At that point, she no longer needs to lie aggressively because your uncertainty is already doing the work for her. This behavior is not always driven by cruelty or ill intent. Sometimes it comes from guilt, fear, or the desire to protect two emotional worlds at the same time. But regardless of the motive, the result is the same. Your focus moves away from the truth while her behavior remains unexamined. If parts of this are already confirming feelings you have struggled to explain, quietly like the video so it reaches the right men. Stay with me because the next cheating trick is even harder to detect. It does not appear in conversations at all. It hides inside her routine. Cheating trick 2. Secrecy disguised as routine. The second behavior men often overlook is secrecy disguised as routine. When a woman cheats, she rarely hides behind chaos or disorder. Instead, she builds her secrecy into patterns that look responsible, healthy, and completely normal. Routine creates safety in relationships. When something becomes predictable, the mind stops questioning it. Women understand this instinctively, and when cheating enters the picture, routine becomes the perfect cover. This is where many men let their guard down. A new gym habit, longer work hours, regular outings with friends, or increased self-care all appear positive on the surface. Nothing looks suspicious because nothing feels sudden or reckless. From a women's psychology perspective, this is intentional. She blends her affair into daily life so it does not stand out. The goal is not to disappear, but to make her absence feel reasonable. Men often misinterpret this phase as growth. They think she is becoming more disciplined, independent, or emotionally stable. In reality, emotional distance is being quietly organized. There is usually less drama during this stage. She appears calmer, more balanced, and sometimes even kinder. That calm can feel like peace, but it is often emotional detachment. This is why cheating signs tied to routine are so dangerous. She still shows affection, still says the right things, and still plays her role, but the connection begins to feel scheduled rather than natural. Many men describe this stage as feeling like roommates instead of partners. The relationship still functions, but intimacy feels rationed. Time together becomes structured, limited, and emotionally lighter. This is not disinterest, it is organization. She is managing time, emotions, and guilt all at once. From her perspective, she is not lying. She believes she is maintaining balance and protecting peace. But what she is really doing is separating emotional worlds. The danger here is how logical everything sounds. When you ask where she has been or why things feel different, the answers make sense. Over time, logic becomes a shield that turns your instincts against you. This is where men start questioning themselves. You feel something is off, but every explanation sounds reasonable. Doubt slowly shifts inward. If you have ever apologized for asking normal questions, this stage may already be familiar. You begin to feel guilty for observing changes. That guilt keeps you quiet. This is why I tell men to watch patterns, not excuses. Behavior repeated over time tells a clearer story than words. Comfort can hide truth more effectively than conflict ever could. If this video is confirming things you have already sensed, take a moment to like it. It helps this message reach men who are quietly questioning their reality. Also, drop the word confirmed in the comments if this is matching your instincts. Stay with me, because the third behavior is the most damaging of all. This is where emotional manipulation enters and makes you feel wrong for seeing the truth. Cheating trick 3 is emotional manipulation. The third and most damaging behavior is emotional manipulation. This is where a woman does not just hide her actions, but begins to make you feel wrong for noticing changes. Instead of explaining what is happening, she redirects the focus to how she feels. When she senses that you are getting closer to the truth, she shifts strategy. Logic becomes dangerous for her, so emotion becomes the shield. She may express hurt, frustration, or exhaustion in ways that make you retreat. This is rooted deeply in women's psychology. Women are emotionally expressive and understand how emotional shifts affect men. When she feels cornered, she does not argue harder, she feels louder. She might tell you she is stressed, overwhelmed, or feeling unappreciated. Slowly, the narrative changes from her behavior to your shortcomings. You begin to believe the distance started because of you. This is how emotional manipulation buys time. It reframes suspicion as insensitivity and observation as accusation. You stop asking questions because you don't want to hurt her. Many men struggle here because they are logical problem solvers. You approach issues with facts, timelines, and consistency. She responds with emotion, vulnerability, and emotional weight. That mismatch gives her the advantage. You retreat to keep peace, while she regains control. Over time, you learn that trusting your instincts leads to emotional consequences. This behavior is not always planned. Often, it's instinctive. Emotion becomes both a defense and a weapon. At this stage, the affair is not just hidden, it's protected. She is no longer managing your attention or her routine alone. She is managing your emotional reactions. This is why many men later say they feel emotionally confused rather than angry. You were trained to doubt yourself. You were made to feel wrong for seeing patterns. A woman does not always cheat for physical reasons. Often it begins with emotional validation and feeling seen. But once secrecy and manipulation enter, clarity becomes impossible unless you step back. This is why I always tell men to watch energy, not words. Behavior reveals truth over time. Comfort can hide deception better than conflict ever will. If this video felt uncomfortably familiar, you are not weak and you are not imagining things. Many men experience this quietly and blame themselves for noticing changes that were always real. Understanding female behavior decoded through women's psychology is not about blame, it is about clarity. If this helped you see your situation more clearly, subscribe and share this with a man who needs grounded relationship advice for men. Drop your personal story in the comments if you are ready to speak it out. I read them, and you are not alone in this.